Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today on New Year's Eve 2021. What another memorable year this has been, and I'm sure all of us are taking the opportunity to introspect and to watch the year and rewind, so to speak. I mean, even some of the big companies like YouTube will do that. They'll do 2021 and rewind. And it would probably be very beneficial for all of us to do that in a spiritual way and to introspect and to try to glean the gems of this year and to really bring them into full focus and to understand what gifts Divine Mother has given to us throughout the course of this year, in spite of and perhaps because of some of the challenges that we faced. And so in light of that, and in light of the spirit of new beginnings and of the new year, which begins tonight at midnight or tomorrow, I've selected a song to help us move into the new tomorrow, into the new year with bright energy. So let's begin together with a prayer, and then we'll get into our piece of music. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, dearest friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, beloved Guru, Paramhansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, and our friend Swami Kriyananda, humbly we bow before all of you and ask your blessings today. Help us to understand the gifts you have given us in this past year, to absorb them, to condense them into precious jewels of wisdom, precious jewels of gratitude and understanding. Help us to lift our gaze upwards in the coming year, setting our aspirations high to create a new and better future filled with inner joy, filled with your presence. Guide us and inspire us in everything that we do in this coming year. Om, peace. Amen. So for my friends who are at least a little bit experienced with Ananda music, you probably know what song we're going to do next. This is a song from the oratorio. It's one of the first songs, actually, and this is A New Tomorrow. And I thought, a new tomorrow, a new year, and today, they're actually the same. Those two words mean the same thing. A new tomorrow is a new year. And this is a wonderful piece of music, as we'll hear in just a moment, of courageous new beginnings. And Swami actually wanted this song to be the new national anthem for Israel, but it hasn't yet caught on in that way. But this song has a lot of willpower, but also not just willpower to put yourself against life and to sort of prove yourself to be the master of your destiny, but rather it has a lot of willpower to aspire to a new and better future filled with inner joy, as one of my favorite affirmations goes from Swami's book, Affirmations for Self-Healing. And so let's listen to this song, let's enjoy it, but as we sing it together, let's also use our will. And let's, as Master said, when he wills, he sets his feet firmly on the path to freedom. And so let's utilize that great divine gift of our own willpower here together today through this music. And remember that Swami's music is given to us as a way to awaken right attitude, to kindle proper consciousness within us. And so within that, there is a whole spectrum of appropriate energy. That some days we may sing the sweet, tender Irish lullaby, and some days we may sing Looking for a Friend, and some days, like today, we may need a song with a little more willpower, a little more energy to stoke that fire of spiritual ambition within us, and that's very good. So as we sing this today, see if you can muster all of your willpower, all of your new determination, despite any setbacks or any griefs or any pains that have beset you in this past year. Let's resolve together in this song, in this moment, to try and build a new tomorrow. When the dawn breaks and then the morning sends the sun high in the sky, who would hide from heaven's glory? Who would pass the challenge by? La 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 la. La 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 la. Even there's a morning for every nation when the sun's high in the sky. There's a time for every people to affirm their destiny. La 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 la. La 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 la. Even so, all of us together can create a better land. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. La 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 la. La 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 la. There's a morning for every nation when the sun's high in the sky. There's a time for every people to affirm their destiny. La 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 la. La 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 la. Even so, all of us together can create a better land. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. La 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 la. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. And let's pause for a moment together, and as we've done with the other songs, let's close our eyes and let's feel inwardly. But perhaps instead of feeling that calm expansion or that devotional yearning of some of the previous pieces we've selected, let's try to feel inside for that fire of aspiration, of new determination, of courage. To defy the odds, to defy your past karma, to step heroically into a new dawn. It's a fun piece of music, isn't it? I always enjoy singing this, especially as a choir. If you haven't heard it before, it would be well worth a quick YouTube search for A New Tomorrow by Swami Kriyananda to hear some choirs perform it, because it's very robust and full, and when it splits into 4 parts, it's very dramatic and a lot of fun. But even just singing it alone has a lot of energy. Now, one thing that I'd like to share about this piece of music, because again, if music is approached properly, it really is a language, and it can really transform and change your energy and change your consciousness in any particular moment. And so, but if we don't approach it properly, it doesn't have the right power. It's sort of like, this is a joke, but it's sort of like a magic incantation. If you pronounce the words wrong, and if you wave your hand in the wrong way, like if we've seen the Harry Potter movies, if you don't move the wand in the right geographic pattern, then the spell doesn't work. And so with some of this music, and take it from me, this has been my experience sometimes, if I sing the piece with low energy or not quite in the right way, if I don't crack the code, so to speak, it doesn't reveal its splendor. It doesn't transform me in the way that it does if I approach it with high energy and intelligent application of that energy. And so what I'd like to share with you are some of the very simple techniques we can do to sort of crack the seed, and as Master said, get to the oil of inspiration that it holds. And that is, this song is a great example of the power of consonance. And what's interesting is when I was studying as an actor, specifically with Shakespeare's work, it's very interesting to note the use of consonants and vowels. And generally speaking, I heard someone say, and I think it actually has some truth in it, that the vowels tend to hold feeling, because the vowels are all very open, broad sounds where we can really convey emotion. But the consonants give definition and shape even to our words. And if you were to speak only with consonants, we would be clicking and clacking and it wouldn't have any sound or melody. And similarly, if all we did was speak with vowels, there would be no definition and we would just sort of sound like whales singing to each other in the ocean. And so we need both of them together to create rhythm and music and language, which is fascinating to think about in and of itself. But in this song, we can really feel when the consonants are used appropriately that they really become the fuel, the willpower that energizes the feeling of the vowels that follow. And so one of the things that I've noticed is when I sing this song, if I really actually emphasize the consonants, it gives it that fire it needs to like kind of break away from the Earth's atmosphere, like a rocket ship or apparently anything in the world. If it can reach a certain velocity, it can escape the Earth's atmosphere. But it doesn't matter how big or small, if an object doesn't reach that certain speed, which is actually called exit velocity, it will never escape Earth's atmosphere. That it will just get sucked back in by the gravitational field of the Earth. And same thing with our consciousness, that when we try to change our consciousness, you might make a nice effort. You might say a mantra, you might say a prayer, you might try meditating, but if you can't generate enough energy to burst out of the magnetic hold of your previous state of consciousness, you won't soar in infinite space, in a new realm of uplifted awareness. And so in a way, and that speed, like I said, is called exit velocity, which is just one of my favorite little physics tidbits. And it's universal. Every single object has to reach it. But so for us to reach that exit velocity through a piece of music like this, the consonants are the jet fuel. That they give the rocket a little bit more propulsion. They help activate that will, which this song is very largely about. It's about claiming the new tomorrow. Who would hide from heaven's glory? Who would pass the challenge by? And I know, it's a rhetorical question, but there are some days when if that rhetorical question were asked of me, I'd say, I wouldn't mind passing today. Maybe we can take up the challenge tomorrow. But this song is inviting you to do it now, to take up the mantle of a new and better future in this breath, in this moment, and the consonants help bring that out. Just as an example, if I were to sing, when the dawn breaks and then the morning sends the sun high in the sky, who would hide from heaven's glory? Who would pass the challenge by? It doesn't exactly make you feel like you want to, pick up your metaphorical sword and go brave the wild and create a new life, does it? And granted, I also wasn't putting as much energy into my voice, but all I was trying to do was take away all the consonants and just sing it completely on the vowels. And as you also notice, doing that takes away the rhythm. And this song is actually very rhythmic. It's almost, I like to feel this song as if I were marching to it. When the dawn breaks and then the morning sends the sun high in the sky, who would hide from heaven's glory? And all of a sudden it has energy. It feels like, you're marching into a new tomorrow with energy and with courage. So when you try singing this song on your own throughout this next week, and perhaps especially today and tomorrow into the new year, try putting in the energy of the consonants. And in fact, you can maybe even err on the side of being a little bit too much in that way, just to let that energy get started within you. When I direct this with a choir, I really push people to enunciate the consonants and to feel the rhythm, because it's from that power that we can understand the meaning of the piece. So now let's take a look together at the lyrics. I'll play it on my cello and we'll sing it together again. But so the melody actually is very simple and it's very repetitive. It's only just about 8 measures long that repeats the melody over and over. And so the lyrics first are, when the dawn breaks and then the morning sends the sun high in the sky. And just think about these words. Try to understand what it's saying. When the dawn breaks, it was night before and now the sun is coming. And the morning is sending the sun high into the sky. Who would hide from heaven's glory? Who would pass the challenge by? The challenge of a new day, the challenge of having to muster your energy once again. Who would pass that challenge by? And of course, the way that this song is, it would make everyone wish to accept that challenge, to take up the challenge. And that's exactly what we need sometimes. And then also too, when you sing the la 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 part of the refrain every time, again, I hear it very commonly that people slip into letting it be sort of very soft. La 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 la. But this is not prancing through fields of wildflowers. This is a march, a forward march into a new and better future. So even on those la's, if you emphasize the L, the consonant, it keeps its power, it keeps its forward momentum. Then the second verse, there's a morning for every nation when the sun's high in the sky. There's a time for every people to affirm their destiny. And it's interesting that Swami suggested this become the national anthem for Israel, as you know, it has even the verse about nations in it. But each of us can relate to this. There's a time for every people, but also every person, to affirm their destiny. Forget the past, as Sri Yukteswar said. Create a new tomorrow. And then the third verse, even so, all of us together can create a better land. Leave the past. A new tomorrow waits for all who understand. And this third verse has a lot also to absorb in it, because this song, it's very balanced. It's not about personal self-will and defiance of the world and at odds against the whole universe, as sometimes is popular in our culture today. But it's actually also encouraging us to work together, to work with one another, to work with the universe, to work with the energies present already in creation, rather than antagonistically to them. Work, even so, all of us together can create a better land, if only we work together. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. And it's very fun when we sing this as a choir, because the men sing the first verse, then the women the second, and then in unison they sing the third, which of course makes the lyrics all the more emphatic. Even so, all of us together, as we hear the two genders joined together. And it's very dynamic. It's a lot of fun. So now let's listen to just the melody together and hear, even without the articulation of the words and consonants, how the melody is like a Martian soul call to claim your life as your own. Isn't it interesting? Can you hear how also that the song, the melody, has a natural, continual rising current? It sort of builds and then it regathers its energy and prepares once again to rise until finally it reaches the height of its expression in the line. And there it's no ego, but it's aspiration for the heights of your own potential and for divine hope. And so then it reaches that height, and then it comes back down into ushering you the challenge to take that forth and to actually make that aspiration practical in your life. Let's listen one more time. Simple, but very effective. Now, let's try and put all of that together and sing one more time together. So let's sit upright. Let's concentrate together for a moment. First in the heart center to awaken our aspirations, our hopes for a bright future. And let's raise that energy upwards towards the spiritual eye, the point between the eyebrows, which is the seat of willpower in the body. And there, let's offer our aspirations to God. And let's ask Him to bless us with the courage, the energy, and His guidance to help manifest a new and better future filled with inner joy. Please sing with me. When the dawn breaks and then the morning sends the sun high in the sky, who would hide from heaven's glory? Who would pass the challenge by? La 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 la. There's a morning for every nation when the sun's high in the sky. There's a time for every people to affirm their destiny. La 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 la. Even so, all of us together can create a better land. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. La 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 la. There's a morning for every nation when the sun's high in the sky. There's a time for every people to affirm their destiny. La 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 la. Even so, all of us together can create a better land. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. La 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 la. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. And just sit upright with me for a moment and feel that flame of aspiration lit in your own heart, rising upwards towards the spiritual eye and into that fire of your own aspiration, your own courage, God's willpower flowing through you. Let's cast into that fire all of the disappointments from the past year, all of the sorrows, pains, griefs to be purified. And into that flame now, let's also offer our willpower, our determination, our willingness to leave the past and to create a bright new year filled with inner joy, filled with the presence of God. And let's endeavor to live this way today and tomorrow and all through the new year. God bless you, friends. Happy New Year.